Jerome Powell's private world is quieter than the power he carries, and nowhere is that contrast clearer than at his Chevy Chase mansion tucked behind towering oaks and old stone walls. The streets grow softer here, the air calmer, as if the neighborhood itself knows to hold its breath around the man who guides America's financial pulse. Inside, soft light settles over simple rooms built for routine and quiet, creating a space that feels calm and far removed from the noise outside of Washington. It's a calm that makes sense once you understand the man behind it and the long, steady journey that shaped him. Jerome Powell's story didn't unfold with noise or drama, but each step quietly shaped the steady figure he is today. Born in Washington, D.C. in 1953, he grew up close enough to feel the country's political pulse, yet far enough to watch it all with a calm. Studying came naturally to Powell. Princeton showed him a wider world, and Georgetown law taught him how power, money, and policy truly operate. He wasn't the loud or showy type, just someone patient enough to sit with a problem until the right answer finally came into view. His early career wasn't about central banks or big policy. His early career didn't center on central banks or major policy work. In 1984, he moved into investment banking, the place that taught him how markets move, falter, and eventually recover. Those years gave him a sense of rhythm, the rise and fall of risk, the way decisions ripple across lives, not just numbers. A major shift came in 1992, when President George H.W. Bush appointed him as Under-Secretary of the Treasury for Domestic Finance. Powell handled issues that rarely make headlines but quietly decide the country's financial stability. It was the kind of work that asked for calm, restraint, and a precise mind, qualities he carried naturally. After his service ended in 1993, he didn't chase the spotlight. Instead, he stepped into the private sector, becoming a partner at the Carlyle Group from 1997 to 2005, where he learned the private equity world from the inside out. Then he made a move that said a lot about him. He started something of his own. Severn Capital Partners, his private investment firm, was built slowly and without noise. It wasn't a flashy step, just a clear one, shaped by his confidence in long-term thinking. In 2008, he shifted again, joining the Global Environment Fund as a managing partner, bringing his discipline into a space where finance met environmental responsibility. By 2010, Powell found himself back in public work, this time as a visiting scholar at the Bipartisan Policy Center. The role didn't come with prestige, but it brought him into the conversations that mattered: debt, stability, long-term national planning. 2 years later, in 2012, he was appointed to the Federal Reserve Board of Governors. It was the beginning of a chapter that would define him far more than anything before. In February 2018, under President Donald Trump, Powell became the 16th chair of the Federal Reserve, the first in decades without a PhD in economics. Critics questioned him. Trump challenged him openly. But Powell stayed in the same steady lane he had always occupied. Quiet, analytical, grounded. A man who never tried to be the smartest in the room, just the most prepared. Powell's rise was never about noise or ambition. It was built on discipline, patience, and the ability to stay steady when the pressure climbed. In the end, his journey shaped him into something simple but essential, a figure the U.S. economy can lean on. And away from the weight of those decisions, there's a quieter place that steadies him even more: his home in Chevy Chase, where his life moves at a different pace. Mansion in Chevy Chase. Jerome Powell's home in Chevy Chase sits quietly behind the trees, on a peaceful corner where the rush of Washington fades into something softer. Long before you reach the porch, the first thing you notice is the color. That deep, unmistakable blue that earned it the nickname, the Purple House. Built in the 1890s and held by the Powell family for nearly 20 years, the place has the grounded charm of a home that has lived many seasons and kept every one of them. The property stretches across a generous lot, wrapped in mature greenery that moves gently in the wind. Brick paths weave through the front yard, meeting the wide porch where mornings begin slowly. Nothing here feels hurried. Nothing feels staged. It's the kind of house that settles you the moment you step onto the first step. Inside, the foyer opens with a quiet kind of confidence. French doors, high ceilings, and a staircase that curves upward like it has been welcoming generations. The wood floors carry a warm shine, softened by natural light gliding in from every angle. The house doesn't try to impress. It simply feels lived in, steady, and sure of itself. The formal living room anchors the main level, brightened by tall windows and a restored fireplace that pulls the whole space together. It's often where Powell and his wife, Alyssa, settle after long days. She with a book, he with notes in hand, the fire giving the room a quiet center. Across the hall, the dining room adds its own rhythm. Sunlight across the long table, another gentle fireplace, and the feeling of a room meant for the kind of dinners where the two of them sit lingering long after the plates are cleared. Deeper inside, the kitchen shifts the mood again. Spacious, practical, and shaped for real family routines. It's easy to imagine the two moving around the island on unhurried mornings, sharing coffee, talking about the day ahead. Warm wood cabinetry and windows that open toward the trees give the space a calm that feels lived in, the kind of calm that makes you want to stay a little longer. The home rises into 2 more floors, each shaped with the quiet charm only old houses carry. The primary suite sits on the 2nd level, with a balcony touched by morning light and a fireplace that gives the room an old-world steadiness. Additional bedrooms line the hallway, each one simple, bright, and tied to the calm that runs through the entire house. Up on the top floor, a wide recreation room opens beneath the roofline. A flexible space that has been everything over the years: playroom, reading room, gathering place. Even the lower level carries purpose. A multi-purpose room, storage corners, a laundry space, and a sauna sit quietly beneath the home, practical and unbothered. Every floor, every turn, every room has the feeling of a place shaped by long use rather than design trends. A home meant to hold life, not display it. Step outside again, and the property settles into its most peaceful rhythm. The pool rests along the back edge of the lot, framed by old trees. A patio offers shade and slow afternoons, and beyond it, a small garage and carport keep the setup simple. The whole place blends into the neighborhood's century-old calm, leafy sidewalks, quiet streets, and the easy balance of suburban peace and city access. In this home, Powell's world slows. The air feels softer, the pace eases, and the weight of his public responsibilities falls just a little lighter. It's the kind of space where decisions settle, where days stretch quietly, and where a man used to pressure finally finds steady ground. If you walk a little farther down the street, you'll come across something new. The second home Powell owns, close enough to feel like an extension of the Purple House, yet distinct enough to mark a new chapter in the life he and his family have built here. His second quiet home in Chevy Chase. Located on a quiet street west of Chevy Chase Village, Jerome Powell's home doesn't look like the residence of one of the most powerful financial figures in the world. Just 2 blocks off Connecticut Avenue, it blends naturally into a tree-lined neighborhood where people walk dogs, wave to neighbors, and live at a pace far slower than Washington's. Purchased for nearly $3 million, the house never tries to stand out. Its charm comes from the calm lot, the cared-for landscaping, and the steady, settled feeling that greets you the moment you arrive. The brick exterior rises in calm lines across 4 stories, surrounded by gardens that have been shaped and reshaped by the same family for decades. Mature trees lean over the lawn, the drainage is perfect after years of attention, and the curb appeal has that unmistakable Chevy Chase quiet elegance. This is not the house of a man who seeks attention. It's the house of someone who prefers steadiness over spectacle. Inside, The rooms open softly, more lived in than luxurious. The kitchen is the heart of the home, renovated into a clean, modern space, anchored by a central island and fitted with sub-zero refrigeration and Bosch appliances, upgrades chosen for reliability, not display. Morning light passes through the breakfast nook beside it, turning the space into an easy routine rather than a showpiece. The upper floors reveal how the home actually works for him. 6 bedrooms spread across the house, with the top level finished into a quiet workspace, a guest room, and a private bath. A place where Powell can step back from a day full of meetings and settle into something calmer. Downstairs, the above-ground lower level feels surprisingly open, holding a small gym, a maid's room, and a wine cellar tucked off to the side. Nothing screams luxury. It simply offers order, privacy, and function. One of the most striking features sits above everything, a spacious rooftop terrace. It isn't extravagant, just open and steady. The kind of space where small gatherings feel natural, where conversations stretch under the evening sky, and where the noise of Washington feels blessedly far away. What gives the home its real character isn't the size or the upgrades, but the calm of Chevy Chase Village itself. The neighborhood runs on quiet order, steady services, a sense of safety, and a rhythm that asks nothing of him. For a man who carries the weight of the country's economy, that kind of predictable peace matters more than anything inside the walls. Powell chose this home carefully, drawn to its calm and simple charm. Now he rents it out for a modest income, but its deeper meaning hasn't changed. It offers a softer rhythm than his work allows, with slower evenings, easier mornings, and a steadiness no balance sheet can measure. And from this quiet home, his cars tell the next part of the story, how he moves through work and the few moments that truly belong to him. Car collection. The Mercedes-Benz G-Class is the vehicle most people see when Powell moves between public meetings, private briefings, and official buildings in Washington. This is not the flashy G-Class you find in Beverly Hills. His version looks heavier, quieter, and more restrained. It is chosen for safety and function, not for style. Inside, the cabin shuts out almost all city noise. Staff members pass him notes, adjust his schedule, or prepare him for the next meeting while the motorcade moves through traffic. The vehicle is worth about $140,000, but the real value is the sense of security it gives him. For a man responsible for the stability of the U.S. economy, that quiet space matters more than speed or luxury. The Toyota Land Cruiser serves a different part of his routine. It is steady, durable, and almost invisible in a city full of polished sedans. This SUV fits easily into government convoys and is trusted because of its reliability. With reinforced panels and a ride built for long hours on the road, it moves with the same calm, controlled pace that Powell brings to his work. A fully equipped model used in official motorcades usually costs between $90,000 and $110,000, but just like the G-Class, the price is not the important part. Together, these two vehicles show the image of a man who places duty above display, safety above comfort, and quiet discipline above any form of personal enjoyment. Everything exists to serve the work, not himself. Seeing how he chooses his cars says enough about his priorities. And now I want to show you how his income and net worth reflect that same steady mindset. Income and net worth. Jerome Powell did not enter public service as a man climbing toward financial stability. He arrived with it already built. Years in law, investment banking, and private equity had shaped a foundation far stronger than most officials bring to Washington. By the time he stepped into the Federal Reserve, his financial life was steady, diversified, and quietly working in the background. His 2017 to 2018 disclosures placed his net worth between $19.7 million and $55 million, a range driven by long-term investments, funds, and real estate holdings accumulated over decades. Most modern estimates settle around $50 to $55 million, making him one of the wealthiest Federal Reserve chairs in recent history. A reminder that his influence extends far beyond policy meetings. Government salaries add structure, but never define the picture. In 2019, at the height of global uncertainty, Powell earned $203,500 as Fed chair, while other governors earned $183,000. By 2023, his salary rose to $226,300. Modest against the scale of responsibility, but steady in its symbolism. Across decades of law, finance, and public service, he has built a reputation defined not by wealth, but by the calm, methodical way he handles pressure, a steadiness rare in the world he operates in. And once the financial picture settles, what remains is the quieter part of his life, the commitments he keeps to the people and communities who need it most. Philanthropy. Jerome Powell has never tied policy to publicity. His giving stays out of interviews and headlines, moving quietly in the background just like much of his work at the Federal Reserve. No grand gestures, only steady support for the people and institutions he believes keep the country steady. Through a national financial literacy program, he directed $950,000 toward helping high school students understand savings, debt, and inflation, the basic tools of stability that he considers essential for young Americans. It's the kind of initiative that fits him naturally, practical, grounded, and focused on long-term opportunity rather than immediate applause. At Princeton, his alma mater, Powell contributed $800,000 to an independent research fund studying monetary policy and employment trends. The donation doesn't carry his name, and he prefers it that way. For him, research is a public good, not something to brand. His support extends to places far from the world of central banking. Each year, he allocates around $1,500,000 to the Economic Opportunity Scholarship, a small but steady path for students from low-income families to enter the fields of economics, law, or finance. It's an investment in the kind of careers that once shaped him. Closer to home in Washington, D.C., he donated $500,000 to community centers that provide job training and housing assistance for workers living paycheck to paycheck. The effort isn't tied to a press event. It simply reflects a belief he's repeated quietly for years, that economic health always starts with the people who have the least cushion. And in the aftermath of the pandemic, Powell committed $500,000 to a recovery program for small businesses across Maryland and D.C., focusing on family-run shops that struggled to reopen. No spotlight, no speeches, just a quiet push to help communities regain their footing. For Powell, giving isn't a headline. It's a quiet extension of the responsibility he feels every day, steady, intentional, and shaped by the same discipline that defines his public life. All of this also blends naturally into his private world, a life that is quieter, slower, and deeply sincere. Now, let's explore what his life looks like today. Personal life. Away from the pressure of markets and policy meetings, Jerome Powell lives a life defined by steadiness, routine, and family. He has been married to Alyssa Leonard since 1985, and together they raised 3 children in their home in Chevy Chase, a quiet, leafy neighborhood that gives him the distance he needs from Washington's constant noise. Now that his children are adults, the house feels different, calmer. But it's still the place where birthdays are celebrated, where the family gathers on weekends, and where grandchildren have begun to bring new life into the rooms. Most of Powell's mornings start quietly. He wakes early, reads through reports, then takes a short walk around the neighborhood before the day accelerates. Exercise has always been part of his routine. Nothing dramatic, just the steady discipline of jogging, stretching, or riding a stationary bike in the small home gym he keeps upstairs. Friends say that's where he resets his mind before stepping back into the intensity of national economics. At home, Powell is far from the public figure seen on television. He cooks simple meals, enjoys long conversations with his wife, and likes to keep weekends free for family time. When his children visit, he sets work aside and focuses on them, listening, catching up, sharing coffee on the back patio. In the rare quiet afternoons, he reads history books or listens to classical music, the kind that slows the world down. Though his circle of friends is small, it's steady. He often meets them for quiet dinners, walks, or the kind of low-key gatherings that offer comfort rather than attention. People close to him describe the same qualities you see in his work: calm, patience, and the sense that he carries no interest in showing off. This is Powell's private world: simple rhythms, meaningful relationships, and a life built around the things that keep him grounded. If exploring the lives of America's most influential figures like Jerome Powell pulls you in, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications. There's even more to surprise you in the next episodes. See you again.